Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we're taking a deep dive into the business and psychological machinery that allows one single brand to totally dominate the global coffee landscape. And honestly, what's really remarkable is how they consistently charge premium prices no matter what's going on with the economy. We're going to completely unpack the exact strategies, the behavioral economics, and the corporate maneuvers that make Starbucks such an unparalleled powerhouse in the retail space. But first, I want you to ask yourself a really simple, direct question. Why are you willing to pay so much for Starbucks? Take a second and really think about your last trip there. I can guarantee you the answer goes way, way beyond just the wholesale cost of roasted coffee beans and a splash of milk. What we're actually looking at here is a literal masterclass in consumer perception, targeted business architecture, and psychological engineering. All right, let's dive into our roadmap. We're going to examine this whole phenomenon through four distinct lenses today. First, the third place experience. Second, differentiation focus. Third, the psychology of pricing. And fourth, their investments in store partners.
Starting right off with Section 1, the third place experience.
From its early days, Starbucks realized they didn't just want to sell you a drink and a paper cup so you could rush back to your desk. No, they completely shifted their marketing model to focus on a holistic, cultural experience. They define themselves as the third place. So you have your home, you have your workplace, and then you have Starbucks. It's this intermediate space designed specifically to give us comfort, a relaxed atmosphere, and social connection in our totally chaotic, rapid speed lives. Instead of a sterile, transactional environment, it's intentionally designed to be a kind of sanctuary. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why they can command that higher price point. This quote from former CEO Howard Schultz really hits the nail on the head. We are not in the coffee business serving people, but in the people business serving coffee. When you hand over that extra dollar or two at the register, you aren't just buying liquid energy. You're paying for the hospitality. You're paying for the free Wi-Fi, the carefully selected indie music, the comfy seating, and that curated, stylish atmosphere. It completely transcends material utility and steps right into lifestyle framing. To really see this in action, just look at their value proposition compared to a major competitor like Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' operates on a highly focused, low-cost, high-speed approach. It is explicitly about getting your coffee fast, getting it cheap, and getting you on your way. Starbucks, on the other hand, operates a company-owned model that's entirely focused on a highly immersive, premium-priced experience. They intentionally avoid that race to the bottom because their target customer is actively looking for an elevated experience. They want a momentary escape, not just a quick caffeine fix. Moving on to Section 2, differentiation focus. In business theory, Starbucks is pretty much a textbook, best-in-class example of Porter's differentiation focus strategy. They don't try to be everything to everyone, and they certainly don't try to be the cheapest option in town. Instead, they target a loyal, higher-income consumer base. And to this specific demographic, a Starbucks beverage is basically viewed as an affordable luxury. It's a small reward in the middle of a stressful day. They differentiate themselves so heavily on quality, service, and brand image that for their core customers, price is practically no object. So the absolutely crucial point here is that instead of competing on cost, Starbucks relies heavily on massive brand awareness, word-of-mouth marketing, and what economists call an inelastic demand curve. Because their loyal following isn't super sensitive to price, a slight bump in the cost of a latte doesn't actually cause them to lose many customers. Their consumers value the brand, and frankly, the feeling of holding that iconic cup, way too much to switch to a cheaper alternative. And let me tell you, this brand loyalty translates directly to the bottom line. The financial power of this is absolutely staggering. Get this. Industry data shows that it only takes a 1% increase in prices to raise overall profits by an average of 11%. Think about that ratio for a second. Starbucks is an absolute master of this value-based pricing. They use deep customer data analysis to implement tiny, hyper-targeted price hikes, maybe just 10 or 15 cents on a specific size in a specific region, capturing the absolute maximum amount consumers are willing to pay without driving a single one of them away. Okay, let's hit Section 3, the psychology of pricing. Everything, and I mean everything, from the physical size of the cups to the Italian-sounding names, is carefully calculated to bypass your logical wallet and speak directly to your subconscious. There are four key psychological mental triggers at play here: the decoy effect, the IKEA effect, the scarcity principle, and the endowment effect. I really want you to think about your own ordering habits as we walk through these. First up is the decoy effect. Let's look closely at the math behind the menu board. Say a tall blonde vanilla latte is $5.25. A grande is $5.95, and a venti is $6.25. In this scenario, the grande is literally just a decoy. Starbucks intentionally prices the middle size so closely to the largest size that your brain instantly does the math and thinks, well, for just 30 cents more, I get way more coffee in the venti. It's a steal. They've completely incentivized you to make the bigger purchase by framing it as a bargain. Next, we have the IKEA effect. This is the behavioral principle that dictates we value things far more highly when we help build them. By offering endless customizations, plant-based milks, extra espresso shots, specific pumps of syrup, you are actively building your perfect, unique drink. And because of that, you intuitively place a higher premium value on it. Combine that with the scarcity principle. Every single year, people rush to buy the pumpkin spice latte or the peppermint mocha. Even though we all logically know these drinks come back every single year, the fabricated urgency of a limited time window drastically boosts the product's perceived value. You aren't just buying coffee, you're participating in a seasonal event. Finally, there's the endowment effect, which is this fascinating psychological idea that people place more value on things they feel they own. Have you ever wondered why they ask for your name and write it right there on the cup? That simple, brilliant act of a barista personalizing the physical item builds a deep sense of ownership and an immediate emotional connection. Before you even take a single sip, it's no longer just a generic cup of coffee. It is your cup, adding immensely to that premium, tailored feel.
Which brings us to Section 4, Investing in Store Partners.
Look, maintaining this premium illusion takes relentless operational work, especially in a tough macroeconomic environment. Recently, their operating margins contracted, foot traffic dipped, and the company realized they needed to fiercely protect their core brand. So they launched this massive corporate strategy called Back to Starbucks. This initiative is all about returning to their roots and reinvesting in the foundational elements that justify their premium pricing in the first place. Because they know perfectly well that if the in-store experience drops, that premium price tag instantly becomes impossible to justify. Check out this massive number, $892 million. In the fourth quarter alone, Starbucks recorded $892 million in restructuring and impairment charges. They are literally putting hundreds of millions of dollars on the line to clean up their operations, optimize their footprint, and prepare the company to actually deliver on the promises of their premium brand identity. To successfully execute this turnaround, they permanently closed 627 underperforming stores that just weren't meeting the brand standard. But much more importantly, they're making heavy strategic investments directly into their store partners, the baristas. They know that top-tier, friendly, eye-contact-making human service is fundamentally required to sustain that differentiation focus and that crucial third-place vibe. They are doubling down on partner welfare, enhanced training, and operational efficiency so that every single time you walk through those doors, the feeling you get perfectly matches the premium price you pay. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, lingering thought. The next time you find yourself standing at the counter, customizing your order, and swiping your card for that $7 latte, take a slow look around you. Notice the ambient music. Notice the warm lighting. Look at your name handwritten on the cup, and analyze those specific pricing tiers on the menu board right above you. Ask yourself, are you really just paying for roasted coffee beans? Or are you paying for the third place, the deep psychological satisfaction, and a meticulously crafted premium experience? It's an absolutely brilliant strategy, and once you see the machinery behind it, you'll never look at your morning coffee run the exact same way again. Follow Behind the Billion for more business insights.